Hello friends, today we shall discuss how to connect Django to the PostgreSQL database. Now question arises why most developers prefer PostgreSQL when they are working on Django. So first point is that it is the advanced most advanced open source open source relational database management system. So it is a relational database management system which is open source and also most advanced and completely free and used by the most reputed companies in the world. And secondly, PostgreSQL supports it supports geographical data. It supports geographical data. So if you are developing some website which uses maps or geographical based data, so you should use PostgreSQL. In such a situation, you can also use geoDjango, which is mainly used when developing a geographical application. Secondly, Django supports different types of data types which are fully compatible with PostgreSQL, and Django supports most of the operations or features in PostgreSQL, and this is the reason why PostgreSQL is used with Django. And Django also has a inbuilt package called Django.contrib.postgres, which contain many functions which you can readily use which with PostgreSQL. So Django is very finely tuned to work with PostgreSQL database, and this is one of the reason why most developers prefer PostgreSQL when they are developing application in Django. And there are many features which are available in PostgreSQL, like full text search, aggregation functions, fun- lookups, lookup validators, and many more. These are some PostgreSQL features which are normally supported by Django. So this is one of the reason why we prefer PostgreSQL when using Django. So in order to use PostgreSQL, it is important that you should install it. Normally, it is not installed in any operating system, whether you are using Mac, Linux like Ubuntu, or Windows. It is not normally installed. So it is important that you should install it. So let me discuss some points in installation. Just you need to go to the site. For example, this is the site already opened by me so that I can show you. And you need to go to this site so that you can download PostgreSQL. So here you can download PostgreSQL, and you can download it from for Windows, for Mac OS, and for also for Linux. And question arises which version we should download. My recommendation is not to download the very latest version, because in very latest version there may be some bugs which are still to be discovered. So You can use the version 14, you can use 13, and you can also use a version 12. Not very old version like 11. Don't use 11 version. You can start from 12 if you like. And also it depends on what version of OS you are using. Yeah, if you want to install version 14, you need to confirm whether my OS support it. So these are the things which you normally take into account when you are using or installing PostgreSQL database. And you can just click here and go to their site to download the Windows installer. And you can see that you can easily download it. And so uh, you can similarly download it for Mac. And for if you are uh, using Ubuntu, so just click on Linux. And if you are using Ubuntu, so you can find some. Yes, uh, you need to confirm that what is the version you are using. You should be using version Ubuntu 18 or Ubuntu 20 or Ubuntu 22. So depending on these versions, you can proceed. And just you need to run the flowing commands which will install the PostgreSQL in your database. And in my case, I am using here Mac here, but I have also created a virtual machine in Ubuntu so that I can guide you in command line. So let me open the Visual Studio Code. And you can see this is the command line for Ubuntu here. It is already working here. And if you can type the command sudo service PostgreSQL status. So what this command does, it will tell the status of the service PostgreSQL which is already installed here. I have already installed the PostgreSQL here. Currently it is active, it is working. Okay. So what we can do, you can if you want to log in into the PostgreSQL shell, if you want to use the shell on Ubuntu, you can use sudo here. And just type here su Postgres is the default user when you install PostgreSQL server. This user is already created after the installation of PostgreSQL service. So just type sudo su Postgres. If you are in Windows, you can just open the Windows shell there, Windows PostgreSQL there, which is already provided when you install PostgreSQL on Windows. And just open the shell there, and you can type you can work on the PostgreSQL commands. So we have login into Postgres. And if I type the command who am I, so I am now Postgres, the user is Postgres, we have login into Postgres user. So in order to run the shell, we will type a command psql which will open the PostgreSQL shell. And in this we can directly interact with the PostgreSQL server. Just type here backslash and L, small l, just type enter here. And you can see that there are already some databases. These are default databases which are already there. And we can create our new database like create database. We can create a new database. I am creating here developer demo. This is the name of the database. So you can see that I have created a database here, and you can create new user, create user developer demo. The username is the same. I am using the same username, create user developer demo. So user is created. Let me set a password here. Alter user developer demo, and just type like this password, and just type a password here. You give a complex password like demo 650 double hash. In complex password we have letters, numbers, and symbols, and we also have a combination of small and big letters. Okay, so just run this query, and you have set the password, and you can see that the database is already created with the same same username, and you can just quit it. Just type backslash and q, and you can come out from here. Just type exit, and we have now exit the Postgres user, and currently I am in my user developer bits. So we have already created our database. Now PostgreSQL service is already running on Ubuntu. So my question is, or you can say how we can now connect to the PostgreSQL service. There is one way which I have already used. We have used a PSQL shell to connect it, and the other way is that we can also use a graphical method to connect it. Let me start PZ admin 4. You can also download PZ admin 4, which help us to connect to PostgreSQL graphically, so it will be much easier for you. So after creating database, it is important you should open this PZ admin 4 and try to connect it to the database using this application. So let me open the application here, and let me connect the connection now. Let me create a connection. So just right click on the servers and register server. So here you can type some name here, like developer, any name you like. You can type here any full name. You can type, put some comments here if you like, and just connection here. My Ubuntu is running on a virtual machine which have this IP address, and 5432 is the default port, and you can also use this username to connect it, but it is important you shouldn't use this username which is the master user. Just use the username which we have created. So we need to type the username here which we have created us now. And the username was developer demo, and database name was also the developer demo, and same names we are using here, and there is no need to enable Cabros authentication. Just you can type the password here. Password, I'm typing the password here and save password, and just click save here, and it is connected now. You can see we have the developer demo database which we have created, and this database is already there, and this is a system database. No need to do here anything. And, this is our database. Here we will create tables here and save our data here. Now we shall connect our Django application to the PostgreSQL database. So far we have been connecting to the PostgreSQL database using shell, and we have also used a software called pgadmin4 to connect to our database, and this is very useful software when you are working on PostgreSQL. You can manage many things from here using graphical tool, and it is a very advanced software. In order to use PostgreSQL, it is important that we should install the required module here. So let me clear my screen, and let me install the required module. Just type pip install and just type the module name which is required here. So we required psycho pg2 which is used to connect to the database. Press enter here, and you can see the module is being installed, and it will take some time to get installed. So it is finally installed. Now we can go to our setting file. Here settings file is already opened, and you can see that in setting file we need to configure our database connection. And in my previous video I have already told you that for SQLite 3 the database is connection is already created by Django, and Django has already the inbuilt support for SQLite 3. And for connecting to the PostgreSQL, we need to create a connection, and if you like you can comment this, just copy this and paste below it, and you can comment this one or you can delete this one as per the requirement. And I have commented this one, and I will now use I will put some new settings here to connect to the PostgreSQL database. So let me do the changes now, and you need to type here PostgreSQL underscore psycho pg2, because this is the module which will be used to connect to the PostgreSQL database. And you need to type the name of the database here, which is developer demo, and next you need to type the user, and user here is developer demo. It has the same username, developer demo. So next you need to type the password here. So just type the password here, and password was a demo 650 double hash. So we have typed the you have typed the name, user, password, and next is host. Host means the server, the computer in which our PostgreSQL service is running. So I will type here localhost here because in my case the code and the PostgreSQL service in the is in the same computer in the same machine. So I am typing localhost here, and if it is in another machine, you can type the IP address of that machine. Okay, so then you can type the port here. Every service, every network service have a port. So the default port is 5432, and this is the port which we can use to connect to the database. So you can type port here. If you doesn't type here anything, it will also connect if the port is, if the default port 5.32 is used. If you have changed the port in your PostgreSQL configuration files, so it is important that you should mention the port here. Okay, otherwise there is no need to mention here. Anyway, we can type the also port here, and just save the setting files, and if our connection is okay, Django will not return any error. So let us check if we have done everything in the right order. Just type the manage command, just type the run server command to run the applications, and press enter here. And you can see that our application has been running, and there is no error regarding the connectivity to the PostgreSQL, because Django has successfully connected to the PostgreSQL, and is telling us that you have 80 unapplied migration. It is telling us to run the migrations, because it is able to connect to the database. Then what will happen if we run migration? As I already told in the previous video, if you run migration, it will create the tables for the apps which are already there. Apps like admin, auth, content type, session, these apps are already configured in the Django. So this is a new project, and we are running this for the first time, and therefore it have the information that you have not applied the migration yet, because our database is completely empty. Okay, so we should run the command manage.py migrate command. We should run this migrate command so that the initial database configuration uh, is applied to the database. Okay, just press Ctrl C. Let me clear the screen, and let me type the migrate. So you can see the migration has been run. So you can see it has been run successfully. The Django has created all the tables for the apps. Now we need to verify it, whether it has been created. So just go to PG admin 4, and just click here. Just you can also refresh it, refresh one time, and just go to schemas, and just go inside public. You can see tables here. So you can see the Django has created the tables. Auth, what is auth? Auth is the app name, and so in this table you can find all the user information. So and you can see the table is empty here because we haven't created any user yet. Let me create new user here. Let me clear the screen and let me create a user here. You can type python manage.py create super user, because it is important that you should create a super user at first. So press enter and just type username as admin, and or you can type any name as username, and just type a valid email address here. I can type any. I'm typing just a fake email address, but in real world you need to type a valid email address. Okay. So type a complex password here. It is important that you should use complex password. Okay, so you can see that a super user has been created successfully. Let us check here again. Just this play button, execute it again. You can see a user has been created. You can see a password has been set, and this is password is in an encrypted form. So you can see that a user with the admin name is created with email address admin@xyz.com. So you can see our database has been working and we have successfully connected to the PostGreSQL database. So I think this video will be very much helpful to you when you connect to the PostgreSQL database when deploying a Django application. Thank you very much for watching my video. Please like the video, subscribe my channel if you like it. Thank you very much.